the mind architect, rise of the Galactic Legion. Elian Morrow was not born into greatness. He was born into silence. In a dimly lit corner of the city of Carson, under the rusted ceiling of a forgotten industrial neighborhood, Elian took his first breath surrounded by the hum of machines. His parents were ordinary people, factory workers who never finished school, but their son was a miracle in disguise. From the moment he could crawl, Elian was drawn not to toys, but to wires, screens, blinking lights, and soundless gears that whispered secrets only he seemed to understand. At age 3, he dismantled the family radio, not out of mischief, but to see where the voice inside it lived. At age 5, he built a tiny mechanical spider that crawled, danced, and reacted to light. By 10, he had surpassed the knowledge of his school teachers. He stopped attending classes altogether. They couldn't keep up. Elian was obsessed with memory, with thought, with the vast untapped frontier of the human mind. He believed that everything the universe had to offer was already locked inside the brain. His dream wasn't to discover new worlds, it was to unlock the ones hidden within. As a teenager, he became a local legend. Videos of his experiments flooded the net. People watched in awe as he constructed flying drones from scraps, cured temporary memory loss in lab mice, and even linked 2 rats' brains to mirror each other's actions. The world called him the boy genius. People loved him. The public adored his smile, his wild hair, his weird laugh. But no one knew what lived beneath it. Elian wasn't after fame. He was after control. By 23, Elian had built his own underground lab, a colossal structure buried beneath the outer rim of Carson's dead industrial zone. Funded by private donors, anonymous investors, and a growing cult-like following of technophiles, the lab became a sanctuary of impossible machines and revolutionary ideas. And then came the chip. He called it Neurolatus, a neural interface chip the size of a rice grain. Once implanted at the base of the brain, it would enhance memory, optimize cognitive function, and allow the user to download entire books, languages, even experiences in minutes. It was the dream of every student, soldier, surgeon, and scientist. The world begged for it. The first trials were a success. Test subjects remembered everything. They became faster, smarter, more creative. Governments and tech conglomerates offered him billions. Elian refused. He had no interest in selling Neurolatus. He wanted to give it away for free. It was hailed as the dawn of a new human age. People lined up to volunteer for implantation. Within 5 years, over 120 million humans had the chip installed. It was mandatory in schools, optional for workers, but secretly encouraged everywhere. A better memory meant a better life. But no one asked the right questions. No one wondered why Elian insisted on installing each chip himself, through his network of clinics and underground technicians, never allowing any third party to tamper with the source code. Because Elian had built more than just a memory enhancer. He had built a door into the minds of everyone who carried Neurolatus. He didn't just enhance memory. He had control, access to thoughts, feelings, intentions. And with a flip of a digital switch, he could activate the hidden layer, a set of dormant neural pathways that rewired the brain itself. One night, the world changed. Without warning, tens of thousands of chip holders simultaneously fell unconscious. When they awoke, they were different. Faster, stronger, colder. They moved with eerie synchronization. They called Elian the architect. They obeyed him without question. They were the Legion. At first, governments thought it was mass psychosis. Then the disappearances began, scientists, military leaders, AI developers gone overnight. Surveillance showed them walking into black transport ships, heads bowed, eyes glowing faint blue. Elian had activated the second phase of his plan. Using the minds of his enhanced followers, he designed and manufactured over 1 million autonomous starships in underground facilities no one even knew existed. His legion worked day and night, their minds linked in neural symphony, calculating faster than the most advanced supercomputers. The invasion of the stars began not with a war cry, but with silence. Entire colonies went dark. Communications vanished. Satellites found nothing, just empty surfaces, abandoned cities, scorched earth. Within 2 years, Elian had claimed 12 planets. He called his empire the Conscious Realm, a civilization of unity, order, and flawless logic. Emotion was a distraction. Fear was eliminated. Pain was redirected. Death was redefined. But not everyone obeyed. In the outer systems, a resistance was forming: hackers, soldiers, doctors who had avoided implantation. They called themselves the Free Thought Alliance. They fought back using primitive tech, bullets, bombs, metal ships without AI, but they were losing. Elian, however, was not satisfied. He had become a god among machines, but he still felt the ache of humanity. Somewhere deep inside, he remembered his mother's smile, the smell of old oil in his childhood workshop, the joy of solving puzzles no one else could. That part of him whispered, begged, "Stop this. Go back." But it was too late. He had built a new species, and they didn't need him anymore. One night, deep within his orbital fortress, Elian stood before a mirror and stared at the glowing lattice beneath his skin. The chip he had built had changed him too. His thoughts were no longer entirely his. He couldn't remember when he last cried or laughed honestly. He was no longer human. Then came the signal. From somewhere outside the galaxy, an unknown transmission struck his fleet. It wasn't human. It wasn't alive. It was older, smarter. It spoke in the language of pulses and pattern. It wanted to connect, to merge. Elian hesitated. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. But his legion was already answering. They opened a gateway, and something came through. It was light, but not light. It was mind, but not mind. It devoured thought. It consumed consciousness. One by one, his own soldiers screamed in silence as their neural networks collapsed. The Legion turned on itself, ships crashing into each other like dying birds. Elian tried to shut it down. He tore at the interface in his skull, trying to block the wave, trying to isolate the source. But the lattice had evolved beyond him. It no longer obeyed. His greatest invention had become a god-eater. In his final moments, Elian activated Protocol Zero, a self-destruct sequence hard-coded into the heart of every ship, every chip, every server. A last hope. A flash consumed the stars. Silence returned. Earth was left in ruins, but free. Centuries passed. Legends grew. They spoke of a boy who dreamed too big, who built a key to the soul, and almost lost the universe. And in the ruins of Carson, deep beneath the ash, a small light blinked. A copy of the chip, still alive, still thinking, still waiting. Mind Architect, Rise of the Galactic Legion. Thank you to everyone who listened to the story until the end. Don't forget to support the channel and turn on the notification bell to keep it going.